Hey everybody, Peter Soros here with realestateskills.com. Today I've got another great student interview for you with Matt from the Wisconsin area. He just bought his first buy and hold property after being in the program for only a few months. I can't wait for you to hear his story, so let's dive right into it. All right, well, welcome Matt. How you doing today?
I'm doing good today, Peter. How are you?
I'm doing great. So fantastic to have you here, share your story with us. So first off, we always got like to get know a little bit about you. So where did you kind of come from, before getting into real estate? What were you doing?
Well, right now I'm a pharmacist, so I'm still working full time as a pharmacist. Live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Mhm.
Have always kind of had an itch to get into real estate, so kind of came across real estate skills, and it's been awesome ever since joining the program. So yeah,
Awesome. Awesome. What made you choose us over any of the other programs out there?
one of the big things I wanted to learn about real estate was to learn how to have all the possible exit strategies available. So that was a big thing for me, like learning how to wholesale, possibly fix and flip, and also buy and hold, and also just the having all the support with the mentorship calls and the school community was definitely the kind of what drew me into the program. Yeah.
Gotcha. What was it about real estate in general that always made you, like you had an itch? What was it about real estate that really kind of pulled you into it and made it like, I mean, it sounds like, you're happy with your career. What was it that like, you got an itch still you had to scratch with real estate? What was that all about?
I think the thing with real estate for me was kind of always had like an entrepreneurial mindset,
Mhm.
and being in pharmacy, it's kind of more of a not entrepreneurial, so it allowed me to kind of take the reins, and it's something that I could um, kind of take more control over what my investments and my like financial future. So that was one big thing for me.
Gotcha. You got a good stable career, takes care of most things, but doesn't probably allow for those freedoms and maybe real estate gives you some creativity. That was one thing I realized. It's actually a much more creative than I thought at first. So did you find kind of the same thing? You can kind of get really creative with real estate after doing your first deal?
Absolutely, yeah. And yeah, one thing I always hear from you in the calls, it's there's like a science to it, and then there's an art to it. So most definitely, it's not just I'm definitely learning a lot in these first couple months, is but there's definitely an art to it. It's something you can kind of like you take pride in it too. It's not just you don't just buy a property and kind of
Mhm.
forget about it, but you really take pride in like making it a a nice place to live and a nice place for somebody. So
Mhm.
that's been a good thing so far.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you mentioned that because I do bring it up a lot because I think it has to be said. It's something that's overlooked a lot. Sometimes people are just coming in thinking that they can just have a formula and everything will just go as planned as the formula. That's just not how it works. There's more to it. And as you also said too, you're actually creating housing for someone. Like that
Hmm.
that's huge, that's way more than a formula right there. So, but I'm glad you see it that way too. It just goes to show that you're probably going to be one of the best landlords out there, and I'm
Yeah.
sure your tenants will love you.
Yeah, actually, going off of that, even in the first couple months as being a landlord, like the tenants have told me several times already. It's like, they're like, oh wow, like this is way, the previous landlord, barely, did anything, or we barely even heard from them. So that's been reassuring to hear that from them as well. So
Yeah, it's
yeah,
you don't have to be a jerk to be a landlord.
right, right,
Obviously, there's that stigma out there, but
yeah.
there's plenty of good landlords. A lot of it's just a business. You got to stick to business, but there's the human element to it again. So we always have to keep that in mind. But that brings me, getting starting to get into the questions now is why rental properties? Like you had the option of wholesaling or fix and flipping, but you went right into rental properties. Tell us a little bit why you chose to just dive into rental properties right away.
I mean, kind of thinking, with my career being full time, pretty high workload. I kind of thought that's something that I'd be able to manage on my own in my time outside of work. Um,
Mhm.
and I guess my like in my mind, like I've always real estate has always been just like more of a like buy and holding,
Mhm.
which is kind of I'm starting to learn more in real estate skills, about how to wholesale and flip, and I would love to get into that at some point. But I guess like my picture of real estate has always been a like
Mhm,
a buy and hold situation. So I think it's more of just what
mhm,
I've always kind of had in my mind. So
mhm. No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, there's always trade-offs along that evolution of a real estate investor. You got wholesaling is very time dependent. That's when it gives you an option to get into investing with zero. Basically, you don't have to have any money into it. You just got to really, do the grunt work. It takes a lot of time. You got to really kind of soldier through it. But at the same time, when you start getting deals, you could just wholesale them off. So by you having that extra tool in your pocket, you might just be like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to fix or flip this one. I don't even want to hold this one. I'll just make a couple, maybe 10 grand and just give it to someone else who makes it's a better fit for them. So it's perfect having all those exit strategies. Fix and flip definitely takes more time, higher risk, bigger rewards, but, for your situation, buy and hold honestly makes the most sense if you can qualify to buy these properties and just have the cash flow. And it's really like how much time does it really take from your day or weekly? Like probably very little, I'm assuming, right?
right, yeah, I would say it's yeah, it's not even on a daily basis. Probably
Mhm,
an hour or two a week of
mhm.
just of managing. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, and also going off of that as well. I in wholesaling, it's not a that's not something that you can just kind of do on the side, kind of in your free time. I'm
Mhm.
definitely learning that as well. So that's it's a if you want to be successful, at that it's definitely a not a full time gig, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of
Yeah.
like mental capacity as well.
You definitely have to be committed to making wholesale deals work.
Yeah.
If it's on market, you'd really got to do the grunt style, soldier through it. If you're doing it off market wholesaling, you've got to be spending lots of money, usually every month, to just get
Hmm.
those leads. But yeah, it's very very true. The time required usually is going to take longer if that's where you're starting. But at this point, let's just say you start getting leads across your desk, you can just wholesale them. It really won't take too much time. If you have a pool of buyers, you can just bring them to. So the good thing is like you don't have to go do that. You can just keep acquiring properties and wholesale here and there as you wish. But yeah, we're all really excited for you. Kind of leads me to my next question was, how soon into joining the program did you actually pick up this property?
I think it was in within about 3 months, I believe. I think
Mhm.
I signed up in March, early March, and then we ended up closing. I think it was towards the end of May, almost early June. So
Mhm.
it was pretty quickly after there. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that real estate skills did for me, it kind of just gave me more confidence
Mhm.
in what I was doing. So I think that was probably one of my biggest barriers was just being able to make that first one happen. So and having like the background and the people supporting you was kind of what pushed me to
Mhm.
really finally make it happen. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we're, definitely here to support you. So how did we help exactly? Because I remember seeing the posts like, "Hey, we're looking at this. We're doing inspections," and then tell me a little bit about that. Just so everyone else is aware too. Um, you know, what was the support like on our side that really helped you push forward through this? Because I'm sure you didn't have a real estate background at all, right?
No, no, not at all.
No,
No.
no. So I'm sure there's always a lot of questions like, am I doing the right thing? A lot of people will, you know, learn by trial and error,
Hmm.
and you can make a lot of errors. So,
Yeah.
it's always smarter to get a coach, right? So, what kind of things do you think we ended up helping with that really helped you avoid major errors? Were there specific things? Like, I think there was something I remember Ryan recommending, "No, you should go get this done or talk to this person so this way you can figure this out." It's kind of vague right now, but I think there was something like that along the lines that happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, from the get go, the like using the deal calculator for the
Mhm,
buy and hold was kind of what made me more, confident in the numbers. And
mhm,
then, kind of during the closing process, I think when we had the inspection done, there
mhm.
was a couple things that kind of, when I saw that first, it kind of made me, think, oh, maybe this some of these things are something that I should, stay away from. But then I think it was actually it was a there was some minor like asbestos
Okay.
in
Mhm.
the basement and one of
That's right.
the
Mhm,
heating ducts, and they kind of just reassured me that it's it's pretty standard on the older houses like
Mhm.
built in the 50s.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of stuff like that, and and with the
Community.
school program,
Mhm.
it's community. Yeah, it was it was like I had my questions about the inspection, and you and Ryan were like right away jumped on it saying like, oh, like just kind of reassured that
Mhm.
this is something that you can definitely keep moving forward with. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
So it did need a little bit of repairs. About how much repair work did this property actually need?
There was like the big thing was it needed some updated electrical.
Mhm.
So it had just like
Mhm.
I think it had like a 60 amp
Mhm.
old system in it. So that was one thing on the inspection that they pointed out. So I was able to. I think originally we offered like a little bit less than asking, and they countered, which
Mhm.
and then we accepted that offer. But then we were able to use that
Inspection to get it.
inspection report,
Mhm.
knowing we had to make some major repairs in electrical to kind of get lower back down to where our original offer was. So,
Got it. Okay.
you and Ryan also kind of helped with that, how to navigate that,
Mhm.
that progress. I think too, like one of the biggest things that I've learned within that progress is kind of just the like how to navigate just
Mhm.
working with agents, working with title company, just kind of how to speak the language per se. And I think that's one big thing that I've learned from you guys so far. So that's been very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
great to hear. Helps you kind of just, it's basically a new language you're learning, and we're just
Yeah.
helping you, speak that language a lot faster
Yeah.
this way, so, so you find this deal on market, or was it an off market lead you got?
I was on market. Actually, I was actually doing a discovery call,
Mhm.
on a different property, and the listing agent happened to be, just like an investor friendly agent. And
Mhm.
then he's like, "Oh, I'll start sending you some other deals." And just one came across. It looked like I would like, and I went and checked it out, and it went from there. So it was from doing a discovery call on a different property.
Nice, nice,
Yeah.
nice. So how does it feel now being a rental owner, with a property? How does that feel now?
Yeah, no, it feels awesome. It's definitely one thing that I've
Mhm.
been wanting to do for a long time. So it's and also to with trying to get into wholesaling and flipping, it also kind of helps me a little bit, not mentally, but kind of just knowing that I'm like, truly I have an investment property. So I'm,
Mhm.
I just kind of gives me more confidence in
Yeah.
what we're doing. So yeah.
You are a legit landlord now.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
been awesome, but it's definitely been a it's been a lot to learn, and
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say it hasn't been stressful so far, but it's been good. So yeah.
Awesome. What has been like the response been like from the family and your close, friends, hearing that you just bought your first rental property? What was that like when they heard the news?
Oh yeah, my family's been super supportive.
Mhm.
My wife's been kind of pushing me to, I would say kind of like prior to this, I
Mhm.
was kind of talking about real estate, and it was kind of
Mhm.
like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds kind of cool. But then now that actually happened, like I think she's definitely, she wants to do
Yeah.
get more deals, more property. So I think she definitely caught the bug too. So it's been good, and yeah. But
It.
yeah, there's no like no real estate background in my
Mhm.
family at all.
Mhm.
So and like my parents or anything.
Mhm.
But when I talk to them about it, they're super interested in it now. They
Yeah.
they want to know more about it, and they want to come help me out with the property and all
Mhm.
this stuff. So it's been good on that front. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where when people hear about it, like everybody's interested. Like it's one
Yeah.
of those
Yeah.
topics that everyone will is happy to talk about and interested in. Like, oh, I want to do that too, and they want to get in it somehow. And the beautiful thing is that you're building a business where eventually there could be a place for
Yeah.
each one of them, or you could teach them what you learned. So
Mhm.
that's a beautiful thing about it. Uh, so now the question is, okay, you got this first property. So how did you actually buy this property? You used hard money? Did you use a conventional loan? Tell me a little bit about how you actually acquired this property.
Yeah, we used a conventional loan.
Hmm.
It was just kind of a combination of just some cash savings that I had, and I,
Hmm.
and I also ended up taking a little bit of savings out of it's like a 401k that I had,
Okay.
like a Roth IRA.
Hmm.
So it's kind of a little bit of pulling together some money from just savings and some money in the stock market.
Hmm.
Um, and that's also kind of another reason why I wanted to, go down this route because a lot of my investments are all of my investments so far have been in the stock market. So I kind of wanted to,
Hmm. Have
you know,
something
get
more tangible, right?
exactly, yeah, yeah, something that I have more control over.
Yeah,
So that
absolutely.
was one thing with the stock market. It's kind of, it's I wouldn't say it's boring, but it's
Pretty hands off. I mean, you
yeah,
can be very, very active looking at charts all day, but
yeah,
looking at properties is a lot more exciting, I would say,
yeah.
and interesting. But how was the escrow and the closing process? Was that as difficult as you thought it was going to be? Was it easier than you thought it was going to be? Tell me about your experience with that.
Yeah, that was pretty smooth. I think it took like a little bit, longer than I expected. Not in like a bad way, but you would think of just kind of like, they accept the offer and then you go and sign up. But it definitely took some time for just all that stuff to go through. But as far as um, just in general, it was a pretty smooth process,
Okay.
and so yeah.
Okay. And I think you already mentioned before, you're managing this, correct? You don't have a property management company taking care of this, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been going well so far.
Gotcha. You already have a
Yeah.
tenant in place, it sounds like. Did you have to go find this tenant? Were they already in there? What was the story with the getting the tenant in there?
Yeah, they were actually already there was already a tenant in place.
Okay.
They have actually lived in the property for almost like 14 or 15 years.
Mhm.
So they've been there for a while. And that was one of the seller. They wanted someone that was willing to keep the tenant in place.
Mhm.
So I kind of took that as, a reliable, good tenant that,
Yeah.
you know, so that was something. Yeah, they've been there for a while. Yeah.
Gave you a little bit more peace of mind that, someone's already
Yeah.
paying, so that's a good sign. Okay.
And I think that too was one of like my biggest fears, like getting into my first deal, is you know, if there was no one to pay the rent. So I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not. I think like going forward, possibly I wouldn't only
Mhm.
buy one that's already turnkey, but I just being into my first one,
Made it
I
simple.
would I feel like I would have like not panicked, but it's say like my first deal, and then all of a sudden,
Mhm.
there's no one to rent it out. So I think that kind of helped a little bit as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, it made it simple, and it sounded like they were pretty accommodating that you were gonna be making a few little repairs, upgrading
Yeah,
things, making it a better living, condition for them. So they saw it as a positive, worked out for everyone. So that's great when it's all just a win-win all
yeah.
around. So that's great. So what are like the gross rents per month? And how long is the lease for this tenant? So tell us a little bit more about the numbers, the nitty gritty about the numbers.
Yeah, the gross rent is 1,100 per month,
Okay.
and the lease goes through the end of 2025.
And then your mortgage payment, what do you actually, what are your expenses and payments? And then what are you actually profiting at the end of this monthly at the moment?
Yeah, so the PITI, the
Hmm.
mortgage, taxes, insurance comes out to like 840.
Hmm. Okay.
So and then um, so still trying to like kind of iron out like the
Hmm.
actual repair numbers and like what is considered into what category, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to say that, but I've had to make some repairs so far,
Yeah.
but kind of how to calculate the monthly cash flow. It's
Hmm.
because it's obviously on paper, it's with just the mortgage and the taxes, it would be
Sure.
like around 250, but it'll come out to less than that, obviously. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah, once month to month goes, you start to get a
yeah,
good idea if there's fluctuations in any pricing, and then you'll get the property taxes and all that stuff. It'll all kind of come together, but
yeah,
in the end, it sounds like it's been a good investment. It's cash flowing already. That's already great, you know.
yeah.
And does it look like it's in a neighborhood that has the potential for a lot of appreciation? Or, even if it's minimal, that's fine as long as it's cash flowing. What was the goal really just for cash flowing, or was it really to try to get into a neighborhood that maybe can appreciate a whole lot more? What were you kind of looking for specifically there?
Yeah, I was kind of more leaning towards just making sure something that would cash flow, but
Mhm,
it's definitely in an area that's not, it's obviously a lower price point,
mhm,
but it's still like an area in Milwaukee that I just from being in like investor groups and just knowing
mhm,
people in the area, I know it's like it's an area that like the rentals there are they will hopefully appreciate as well. So and it definitely helps being
mhm,
it's in the market that I live in. So
mhm.
it was helpful to know the area as well. So I mean, it's not the it's not a it's not an A class or
Mhm.
neighborhood, but it's definitely not. I think there should be some solid depreciation as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah,
Is the plan to just hold this as long as possible, or are you thinking maybe 7, 10 years, maybe sell if it's, prices go up, or are you thinking this is just gonna sit in the portfolio, maybe hand it down to the kids or family at some point? What's kind of the goal at the moment? It could change obviously, but
yeah.
what's the plan right now?
Yeah, I think the plan right now is to hold it as long as I can. Try to put as much money back into it as I can to pay off the loan as soon as possible.
Mhm,
So I would like to hold it as long as I possibly can.
mhm.
And then another thing too, I think that's one of the biggest things that drew me into to buy and holds as well is if you have enough money to make the down payment, then you just have someone else pay off your loan. Like to me, that's a
Yeah.
perfect deal to me. So yeah, I guess I'm trying to do that as much as I
Mhm.
can now. But that's yeah,
Yeah. So is the plan just to keep acquiring more rentals and just to build a portfolio? I mean, it sounds like you're pretty content with your job. Some people are doing this because they want to replace their income and then just live off the income from a rental uh, portfolio. What's the plan for you? Is it to just like, hey, I'm happy with my career, plan to do this for a long time, but to just add these investments and then have something to pass down? Is that more kind of what your plan is? Or, again, things can change. You might decide to change your mind, like, hey, I'm making tons of money, I don't even need to work. Like, what would be what is the dream goal? Like, just big picture, what would it be if it could be?
I guess my big picture dream would be to really get like a wholesale operation
Hmm.
going, and then just being able to use that money to acquire more properties.
Hmm.
So I mean, I guess like that's my overall goal right now is to, you know, yeah, just um, get some wholesale deals and then use those profits to for the down payment on some buy and holds.
Hmm.
So I think that would be big picture what I
Yeah.
would love to do.
Yeah, it might be a good idea to then reinvest some of the money into some kind
Yeah,
of lead generation with a website, maybe pay per click, maybe, instead of getting employees, or you could get VAs, something that
yeah,
does the work for you while you're doing your regular work. And then as the leads come in, you can decide wholesale, hold it, fix and flip it, and you can be doing both at the same time, so then you can just keep acquiring and
hmm
stacking that way. So definitely that's what investors do, right? Let money work for them, so they you don't work for money. You get your time back this way. So you're definitely on the right path. So it's just a matter of which way, how far you take that path, because then it can splinter off into so many different things. So that's one of the reasons why I like to ask is where's the plan now, and what if you could just dream real big, where would
yeah.
you go? So always like to hear that. Do you have plans on acquiring a new one anytime soon? Are you closing in on anything right now, or just kind of getting comfortable with this one for now? How's it going with that?
I think for right now, just getting comfortable with this one.
Mhm.
I think I want to kind of nail down more of my like my processes for just managing the property as well.
Mhm.
Just I kind of want to make it more
Efficient.
efficient and
Yeah.
more streamlined and just
Mhm.
something that I'm able to like really like a true business,
Mhm.
not just kind of winging it. But which I'm not doing that now. But
Yeah.
I kind of want to get those processes more streamlined down, and then
Mhm.
I really want to get my first wholesale deal. So I think that's my next goal is to get that done. So I also think one thing too with all the options in real estate, it's kind of easy to get pulled in all these different directions as well.
Mhm.
So if I feel like once I like you know got that property kind of in the had that property in the works, I kind of my focus went from you know primarily on that instead of
Mhm.
you know. So I would love to get my first wholesale deal as well. So
Yeah,
that's my next goal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Again, at the same time too, always keep in mind if it works, don't fix it,
Yeah. Yeah.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Definitely.
So but yeah, there's nothing wrong with learning that because that's just gonna be another tool set that you can utilize. And you never know if something comes across your desk, and you can always bring it to the community to help
Hmm.
have us help you decide maybe this is a better wholesale if you can find a buyer for it. Again, we always say kind of start with a buyer in mind and work backwards. So
Yeah.
if that's your goal right now, is then find some cash buyers you could bring some deals to, and if you can bring them even to other buy and hold investors, you can actually typically make bigger wholesale fees because they can typically pay more because they're going to be offering at a higher price. They
Yeah.
usually less repairs, things like that. So yeah, who knows? Maybe you make connections with other buy and hold investors, and you can be wholesaling to them directly, and you might be able to pull it off that way instead. So there's lots of different avenues to make it happen. So,
Yeah, yeah. I think that's one thing that I've, since starting the course, I definitely am learning that, the market that I'm in is definitely more of a like a buy and hold market versus
mhm,
a flip market. So I think that's kind of helped me like change my thought process as far as like how should I look at this deal and like if I
mhm.
were to, wholesale it, how those numbers would work. So
Yeah, it definitely
yeah,
sounds like then you should be focusing on either fixing and holding yourself, or
yeah,
wholesaling to other uh,
yeah,
fix and holders. So, I mean, that's great that you can actually narrow it down. Sometimes having too many options makes things more
yeah.
complicated.
Yeah.
So, do you plan to stick to that same area of Milwaukee, or are you thinking of maybe branching out to other territories, or other states? What are you planning on at the moment? Just sticking local?
I think for right now, sticking local,
Mhm,
I definitely like being able to like drive by the property and just see what's going on. That
mhm.
I just like that for some reason.
It's a good
So
feeling, right?
yeah. So I think for right now at least, but maybe sometime down the road branch out more into different markets. But I think for right now, just
Mhm.
sticking with the market in the backyard here. So
Again, if it's not broken, don't fix it. If there's plenty of business to be done there, just do what you can to do more business there. That's what we always recommend.
yeah, and I
So,
think I saw one of Ryan's recent YouTube videos was actually about Milwaukee specifically. So
mhm.
I kind of I liked hearing that. So I was like, maybe it's not a bad spot to be in.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
So you're
yeah,
in the right, you got the right backyard to be playing in.
yeah,
So, so
yeah.
that's perfect. So I always like to ask anyone I interview, what kind of advice would you have to people who are going to watch this video, whether or not they're considering maybe going with real estate skills or just real estate in general? What were some lessons you've learned, and some suggestions like you would give someone who's maybe on the fence about either, you know, getting training and coaching or getting into real estate, and they're just a little afraid to pull the trigger. What would you recommend if you could just tell them what to do and give them some advice?
I guess I would say like there's no like you can't really put a price tag on like having a good community and like someone that's really gonna like have your back and really
Hmm.
help you through, your first your first deals.
Hmm.
So I think it's just having the other students. Even that's been huge as well. Not even just the
Hmm.
coaches, but having the other students in the community they're able to bounce ideas off
Hmm.
has been honestly like I would do that over and over again.
Hmm.
I probably would go back and I think like the last couple years where I was just kind of thinking about getting into real
Yeah.
estate. Like all that time could have been spent in a like within a class or a community with
Hmm.
mentors that are gonna really help you like push you and get you to where you want to go. So I think it's I couldn't recommend it more having having a good mentor. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a saying that the hack, the cheat code is getting coaching, is getting
Yeah.
someone to help you not make all the mistakes, or when you're making mistakes to tell you when you're making a mistake right away so you don't keep making those mistakes. So that is the cheat code, is to get coaches, and every high level person has a coach. That's
Right.
something I think we forget. Even, the billionaires who have huge corporations still have coaches and mentors that they go to. So um, that's great advice, as always. So appreciate you
And
sharing. Yeah.
yeah, and like one thing too is, we kind of touched on it earlier, but it was definitely, buying a property is it's a big decision
Mhm.
financially. So, with my, the family, wife, she definitely felt better about it too, knowing that I have like, mentors and
Mhm.
coaches that are kind of in the background that just that made things go easier for in that way too. So that's
Yeah, we're kind we're
yeah,
we're we're nudging you along, like, "Go that way," but we're telling you where to go. "Go this way, don't go
yeah,
that
yeah,
way," nudging you along. You gotta do the work yourself, but we're definitely, there to tell you, you know, "That path is not probably gonna work. This way will probably
right,
work, and it's worth," and that can save you not just so many headaches and troubles, but could also save you tons of money too. So,
right.
that's what a coach is there for. So we're definitely glad to, you know, that have you here. We're so stoked for you, everyone here, about you picking up your first property. We're really excited to see what you continue to do. So, and honestly, a lot of times it's a momentum thing. I know after I did my first deal, the very next month I did mine, there was other students literally the next month after their first deal, they did another deal. So those were more wholesale deals and things like that. But hey, if you keep up the momentum, maybe you'll land that first wholesale deal next month.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So keep up the good work, Matt. Let us know if there's anything else we can do. If anything comes up, as always, you have us and our support, and we're all rooting for you. We're all excited for you. So, if there's not anything else you want to share, then I look forward to doing this with you again pretty soon.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me, Peter.
All right, take care, Matt.
Bye.
And there you have it. I'm so glad Matt was able to share his story with you. As you can see, like most people want to get into real estate, but they don't really know where to begin or if they're going to be making the right choice or not. The last thing people want to do is get into real estate and make big mistakes and they lose everything, right? So Matt made the right decision to go get help, to get support, to get coaching. And he said that was the biggest thing that helped him really get this first deal across the line, which was just a few months after joining the program. He's now a landlord. This is something that many people all over the world aspire to. And he was able to do that in just a matter of a few months because he was committed, made the right choice to get the training and support that you really need when you dive into something like this in real estate. So if you guys are interested in learning more about the real estate skills community, head on over to realestateskills.com, drop us a line, and we'll get in touch with you. Until next time, take care.